Howdy, Legendary Void here, and today we have a really fun deck tech, and yes, this is the first one I've done in a while. It is going to be about General Galaxy Optimus Prime. People call him Galaxy Prime, but General Optimus Prime, the super rare from Wave 4. This one has 3 utility slots, which is absolutely fantastic, and this deck goes out of its way to try and abuse this as much as possible. Now, in his bot mode, he is an 821-2, and just the fact that he has 21 health is absolutely ridiculous. And he is 15 stars, after all, which is absolutely incredible. And then whenever he attacks in his bot mode, and you flip at least one orange, one blue, you can play one of the flipped upgrades onto it afterwards, which is usually going to be a utility, although it doesn't have to be. He also has a crazy ability in his alt mode that says when you flip to this mode, you can look at the top card of your deck. If it's an action, you may play it, which means that he's super versatile when it comes to both actions and upgrades, so he can go either way with either of those abilities. And now that he's 15 stars, it's really limited in what else you can play with him. So I've decided to go the aggro route. We're playing him with RC. So RC has Pierce equal to her attack in her bot mode, and she's a 191. And by trying to get as many matrices onto General Optimus Prime as possible, we can boost her base attack to base 4, so she's automatically going to be dealing 4, plus whatever orange flip she's swinging with on the attack. She's also useful in her alt mode, because when you flip to this mode, you repair 1 damage from each of your other characters, including herself, so that you can heal everybody up with a couple of flipping cards that we have in the deck. And the last character that we have to play for 5 stars is going to be Firefight. He has Brave. He's a 172. You're never really going to use him as like a main attacker. He's mainly there to soak up a couple of hits, maybe even 3 or 4 against the blue deck. But against orange decks, he'll probably last maybe 2 if you're lucky. But if he can soak up 1 hit, then he's done his job. But you're never really going to attack with him unless you want to flip him to this mode and swing for a little bit harder. But he's usually just there to soak up damage. Plus, he's another ranged target for the javelin. And that's the characters. Let's go ahead and get into the battle cards per the usual. So the first action we are playing is 3 copies of Confidence. Since our entire field is Autobots, and we want to try and abuse actions as well as upgrades in this deck, Confidence seems like a really good way to mill through the deck and then get to play an action after seeing all those cards. So 3 of those seems appropriate to me. And then we're also playing 3 copies of Treasure Hunt. Since again, we are trying to abuse both actions and upgrades, Treasure Hunt is a good way to search your deck for those upgrades. We're also playing 3 copies of Rollout. This is mainly because Optimus Prime's ability triggers whenever you flip both an orange and a blue. So if you can flip that and say an upgrade, then you get to play that. And boom, that's that. But it also is really good for its effect as well, flipping all characters from bot to alt mode. And since both RC and General Optimus both have flip effects on their alt mode, it only makes sense that you can also play it for its effect. We're also playing 3 copies of Zap. Do 1 damage to an enemy. This is just in case, say, RC doesn't land a KO like she should because you flip, say, a blue pip. This deck is a little mixed. It's mostly leaning towards orange, but it does have a little bit of blue, so you can try and trigger General Optimus's ability a bit more frequently. But the Zap is there, so you can try and finish off some people a little bit faster. We also have 3 Peace Through Tyranny. Hardly ever going to play it for its effect since it's 6 stars or more. The only person you could really KO is going to be Galaxy Prime. And you don't really want to be KOing this guy since he's your biggest attacker. But it's mainly there just for the double orange per the usual. And we're also playing 2 copies of Swap Missions. This card is actually really good in this deck. So you can swing with Optimus Prime on the first turn, right? He's tapped. And then you play that to tap Firefight, and then boom, he gets to swing again. Because it's not like Firefight is swinging for a lot anyway, and yet Firefight still gets Brave afterwards. So very good card. I almost wanted to run 3, but we don't want to run too many blues in this deck. And here's another card I've always been a bit hesitant about, but once I saw it in this deck from another person's list, I knew I had to throw at least 2 copies of it in here, which is Battle Ready. Each of your characters gets +1 attack until the end of turn for each upgrade on it. This is absolutely fantastic, seeing as Optimus Prime does have 3 utility slots, which means that if he is fully loaded up with 3 utilities, an armor, and a weapon, he's got +5 attack on him, which is absolutely insane, just from 1 action, which is way more than any supercharge could do. So And we're also playing one copy of Escape Route, which says flip one of your characters from alt mode to alt mode. This is just in case you want to say heal everyone across the board with RC and then flip back for her Pierce. We are only playing one just because it is a green pip, and you could also do it with the rollouts if you really wanted to. But yeah, that's all the actions. Let's go ahead and get into the weapons. The first weapon we're playing is, of course, 3 copies of Grenade Launcher. The +4 attack is just absolutely insane in and of itself. And we're also going to be playing 3 copies of the Sturdy Javelin, as I mentioned earlier. When this is on a melee, it gives +2 attack, but when it's on a range and they attack, it scraps itself and does 2 damage to an enemy. Doing 2 damage wherever you want can definitely try and KO someone that your opponent is trying to hide away. So very, very good card, and the white pip dedication to that is especially worth it. And then the last weapon we're playing is 2 copies of Backup Beam. It is a blue pip, but again, it works towards Galaxy Prime's ability. It is a green pip as well, so you can just drag it to your hand and it gives bolt 2 to whoever you put it on. Really good on RC if you can't grab a grenade launcher, or even Fireflight if you want to try and deal some damage with him. That's all the weapons. Of course, the first armor we're going to be playing is 3 copies of Improvised Shield. Obviously there for the double orange pip, but the tough one might actually come in handy, seeing as we do run a couple of blues in the deck, so it can happen if you really want to try and risk it. We're also playing 2 copies of Force Field, mainly there to keep RC a bit alive, but since General Optimus Prime has 2 defense on both of his sides, if you're going up against the orange deck, you can also put it on him, seeing as he's probably not going to be able to take less than 4 damage. So we're also playing 2 copies of Bashing Shield. This is mainly to get rid of opponents' armors, exactly like Force Fields or even Sparring Gears and blue decks. But it's green pip, so it is fetchable. It gives +1 defense, which is also very good. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it for the Bashing Shields, and that's all for the armors. And for our utilities, we are playing 1 copy of Metal Detector. When the upgraded character attacks, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's an upgrade, you may play it. This works especially well with Prime for helping generate a couple more matrices. You can also put it on Fireflight if you want to make his swing actually worth something. But Metal Detector, I didn't want to run too many because the black pip doesn't exactly help in a deck like this, thing as the only one who could really use it is Fireflight, so not that great. We're also playing 1 copy of Energy Pack. This gives +4 health to a character with 11 stars or more, and considering Optimus Prime has 3 utility slots, it seems a bit worth it to give it to him to bring him up to a massive 25 health, which is absolutely insane. And of course, the last utility we're playing is 3 copies of Matrix of Leadership. This is kind of what makes the deck. If you can get all 3 on Optimus, you're swinging for... he's base 11, Firefight's a base 4, Pierce 3, RC is a base 4, and then you can just build up from there. And this is a bit of a hard task, but if you can do it, the payoff is definitely worth it. Now this sideboard, I was a little bit torn about deciding who a character for it should be, so I've kind of narrowed it down to 2 Bumblebees, naturally. The Legendary Warrior Bumblebee and the Trusted Lieutenant Bumblebee. This one, of course, is going to be swinging a bit harder and has some more useful effects like playing an action or drawing more cards on this side. And Legendary Warrior Bumblebee tears your opponent a bit in that they have to decide whether to attack him or General Optimus, because if they attack the General Optimus, now that leaves Bumblebee as a 7/3 who can attack tapped enemies by flipping to his alt mode. Or do they attack Bumblebee first and leave the massive behemoth that is Galaxy Prime left to swing at? It puts them in a bit of a dilemma, which makes me want to lean more towards the Legendary Warrior Bumblebee, but I almost feel like the Trusted Lieutenant is going to work a bit better in that he has more useful effects on his sides, at least over the course of the game, whereas Bumblebee, the Legendary Warrior Bumblebee, is only very specific if your opponent decides to go after General Optimus first. You have to drop both Firefly and RC to even play those, so you'd have to make sure that you want to drop down to a 2-eye team if you're gonna do that. And for our battle cards, in the sideboard, we are playing 3 copies of Team Up Tactics. At this point, you would have both a car and a truck. You could either heal Optimus or draw 2 cards off of Bumblebee. And seeing as we're not playing any Pep Talks in the deck, this can definitely stand in for that. We're also playing 2 copies of Ramming Speed. This is just in case your opponent is playing a super ultra heavy upgrade deck, and you definitely need to be getting rid of your opponent's upgrades, say Stealthiness or even Bravery, off of an Aimless. Very, very useful card for specific circumstances. We're also playing 2 Squish Them Like Bugs, which is an absolutely phenomenal card for this kind of deck, seeing as he's 15 stars, and there's hardly anything higher than that, other than like Omega Supreme and Combiners. So Squish Them Like Bugs works super well, seeing as he can even deal the damage to a Skytread combined, so super, super good. We also play 1 copy of Enforcement Batons. This is to get rid of any Battle Master cards that your opponent might be playing, so you can kill them and immediately get rid of it on their next turn. It's green pip as well, so you can bring it to your hand if you really need to. So that's why we're only playing 1 of those. And we're also playing 2 copies of Jam Signals, which makes it to where if your opponent plays a blue action, it does nothing. So it's very, very specific as well. If you're playing against a blue deck, say, I don't know, Major Shockwave, you can just block a blue pip card coming your way. So that is the sideboard and the deck. Let me know what you think of this deck in the comments below. I know a lot of people have been leaning more towards blue with General Optimus, but I honestly am loving this orange version of him. But if you see anything that you believe we should take out or put in, let me know in the comments below, and I'll probably respond because I got nothing better to do. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to smash like and subscribe. And don't forget to look forward to more videos in the future. As it is Thanksgiving break, hopefully I can get a couple more videos out this week. But yeah, keep an eye out for those, and have a phenomenal day. Peace.